And we're going to continue to support him. He spoke after the game, and he wanted to pin it on himself and his performance, but we're not going to allow him to do that. It's a team game, so we're all in this together.
You said he addressed the entire team in the locker room after the game.
Something huge just happened inside the Cleveland Browns organization. If you aren't paying attention right now, you're missing one of the most exciting stories in the whole National Football League. This is a power shift so big and clear that it could completely change the future of this franchise. Myles Garrett, the best defensive player in football right now, just did something amazing. He is the undisputed leader of the Browns locker room and the guy who scares every offensive coordinator. He made it very clear to head coach Kevin Stefanski and the rest of the coaching staff that he fully supports rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders. And that message is clear. This is our quarterback now, and you better not mess this up.
He put it up, and I'm just like, oh, God, who was I even going to? I wasn't even looking down there to see IB, and then, I'm just looking, I'm like, oh, God, please. And he drops it in the bucket, and he reaches it out. I'm like, please, just don't fumble into the end zone. And I'm just like, wow, there's not many guys in the league that can make that throw. So that was a hell of a throw. I hope he can continue to grow and develop, for making plays like that, and take it from there.
When your best player, the one who carries the team on his back week after week, comes out after a game and uses his platform to support a fifth-round rookie quarterback after his first start, that's not just a nice thing to say. That's not enough to be a good teammate. That's a statement. That is a line in the sand. That's Myles Garrett telling everyone in that building, from the front office to the coaching staff to his teammates, that Shedeur Sanders has earned the respect of this locker room and should keep his job. That endorsement means a lot. This is the highest level of leadership, and it's about to make Kevin Stefanski make the biggest choice of his coaching career. Let's get into what Myles Garrett said in detail, because the time and place of these comments are very important. Think about this scene. The Browns completely destroyed the Raiders from Las Vegas. The defense was unstoppable, getting an amazing 10 sacks that left the Raiders' offense in tatters. Myles Garrett was a total nightmare, getting 3 sacks on his own and showing once again why offensive coordinators can't sleep at night thinking about how to stop him. Garrett could have easily spent his whole post-game press conference talking about how great he was after that kind of dominant performance. He could have based in the glory of another great performance. He could have kept the focus on the defensive dominance that everyone just saw. He made a choice on purpose instead. He decided to use that time and place, when everyone was watching and listening, to praise his new quarterback. And not just general praise, but specific, detailed praise for a throw that showed off top-notch talent. Not many guys in the league can make that throw. That was exactly what Garrett said when he talked about Shedeur's amazing 52-yard completion to Isaiah Bond. Now, let's break down why that statement is so important. Myles Garrett isn't just a backup player who is there to help a teammate. He's not a player on the edge trying to get attention. This player has been named to the first-team All-Pro 3 times. We're talking about the best defensive player of the year, the most important part of the whole Cleveland Browns franchise. Everyone in that organization pays attention when Myles Garrett talks. People listen to him when he talks about talent because he has earned their respect by performing at a high level for a long time. He really means it when he says that Shedeur made a throw that most NFL quarterbacks can't make. He isn't being a cheerleader. Based on years of watching top quarterbacks play from the defensive side of the ball, he's giving an honest, professional opinion. He knows what elite looks like because he plays against the best quarterbacks in the world every week. He really means it when he says he supports him. It's knowledgeable, it's real, and it has a lot of power. The throw that Garrett talked about deserves its own in-depth look because it perfectly sums up why everyone is so excited about what they're seeing from Shedeur Sanders. This was the 52-yard bomb to Isaiah Bond, and the way that play happened makes it even more impressive. The protection fell apart. Defenders were closing in on Shedeur. In that situation, most quarterbacks either get sacked, throw the ball away, or try something risky that ends up being an interception. Shedeur didn't do any of those things. He stayed calm even when things were crazy. He made it up as he went along, showing the pocket presence and awareness that sets great quarterbacks apart from good ones. He used his feet to make the play last longer, giving himself just enough time. And then, with pressure closing in on him, he threw a perfect missile down the field into a small opening. That wasn't a simple throw and catch where the receiver was wide open and running free. That wasn't a scheme that made an easy throw. The defense totally messed up the coverage. That was just pure arm talent, along with amazing calmness under pressure and the guts to let it rip even when everything around him was falling apart. Myles Garrett, who has spent his whole career destroying quarterbacks and ruining plays just like that one, knew right away that what he had just seen was something very special. You can tell how real this moment was by how everyone on the Browns sideline reacted to that throw. If you haven't seen the video, go back and watch it. People were jumping up and down. They were really shocked and happy as they celebrated. The looks on their faces said, "Did you just see what I saw?" You can't fake or make up that kind of real, spontaneous reaction from your own sideline. These are professional football players who have thrown the ball thousands of times in practice and games. They know how hard what they just saw was. They can tell the difference between a good throw and a great one. When your own teammates are shocked by what your quarterback just did and the sideline goes crazy with real excitement, that's all you need to know about how talented the players are. Those guys know they just saw something that most quarterbacks can't do, and their responses were completely honest and unfiltered. But the thing is, it wasn't just that one amazing throw that got everyone so excited. Shedeur also threw a 39-yard pass to Jerry Jeudy that was both accurate and touchy. This is the kind of finesse throw that shows he's not just a guy who can throw it deep. He can also change his power and put the ball exactly where it needs to be. He threw a screen pass to Dillon Gabriel, who ran it in for a 66-yard touchdown. Some people might think that's just a simple screen pass where the running back did all the work, but that's not the point at all. To run screens correctly, you need to know when to run the play, have good timing, and be able to read the defense. Shedeur made plays at all three levels of the field during this game. He was just as confident attacking short, medium, and long passes. He showed that he can attack defenses in more than one way, not just with one kind of throw or one scheme. Myles Garrett and other Browns players are very excited about their rookie quarterback's potential because he can do so many things and has a full set of skills. This wasn't a one-sided success. This was a full demonstration of what an NFL quarterback can do. The journey that Shedeur Sanders has been on to get to this point makes the whole story even more interesting and dramatic. Knowing where Myles Garrett came from and what he's been through helps explain why his support is so important and why this situation has gotten so much attention. Shedeur Sanders wasn't a surprise pick. Everyone knew who he was. Many draft experts and professional scouts thought he was a real first-round talent at one point. Some people thought he would be a top 10 pick because he did so well in college, was a natural leader, and had a skill set that seemed more polished than most college quarterbacks. But then, the day of the draft came, and something strange happened. They called pick after pick, but they never said Shedeur's name. The first round came and went. No Shedeur Sanders. The second round is over. Nothing yet. The third round was over. He still hadn't heard his name called. Shedeur was still sitting there, watching other quarterbacks get picked ahead of him at the end of the fourth round, wondering what was going on. When the Cleveland Browns finally picked him with the 144th overall pick in the fifth round, it made him feel a strange mix of things. He was relieved that he had been drafted and would get a chance to play in the NFL, but he was also shocked that a player with his skills and experience had lasted that long. People had very different ideas about why he fell on draft day. Some scouts were worried about how strong his arm was, but anyone who saw him throw the ball more than 50 yards downfield with speed and accuracy would have a hard time understanding that worry. Some people were worried that he wouldn't be able to succeed without his father's help, as if having a famous coach as a father somehow made it harder for him to understand football. People were talking about his contract demands and the prime equity clause, which made teams afraid to sign him. And, of course, there was the usual doubt and criticism that comes with any famous player who gets a lot of media attention. People always want to bring down the person who is in the spotlight, asking if the attention is deserved or just hype. But the real challenges, the real tests of Shedeur's character and willpower began when he got to Cleveland. He wasn't just at the bottom of the depth chart, he was the fourth-string quarterback behind Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, and rookie Dillon Gabriel. Take a moment to think about that. For someone who had been the starting quarterback for all 4 years of college, someone who had helped his teams win at both Jackson State and Colorado, someone who was used to being the person everyone turned to in times of need, it must have been very humbling and very frustrating to be put on the fourth string. In that situation, most players would have acted badly. They would have been grumpy around the building. They would have told reporters about their problems. They would have asked their agents to make a trade. They would have let their unhappiness get in the way of the whole team. Shedeur Sanders went in a completely different direction. He put his head down and started working. The preseason game against the Carolina Panthers was Shedeur's first real chance to show what he could do on an NFL field, and he took full advantage of it. He did well making plays and showing off the skills that had made him such a highly sought-after prospect coming out of college. He showed calmness, accuracy, and the ability to make plays that should have gotten the coach's attention. But even after that great game, his place on the team didn't change. He stayed the fourth quarterback on the depth chart and didn't get to practice with the starting offense very much. Basically, he was treated like a project that might never get to play in a real game. He was stuck in football purgatory, watching from the sidelines and not getting many chances to show what he could do or improve. A lot of the criticism that Shedeur received during this whole process was very personal and not fair at all. People thought he was arrogant for having faith in his own skills. They said he was self-centered because he was sure of himself. They called him entitled because he thought he should have a fair chance to win. They said he was only getting attention because his father was famous, as if Deion Sanders' legendary career somehow made Shedeur's own achievements less valuable. They said he didn't have the humility to make it in the NFL, whatever that meant. They doubted his work ethic, even though they had no idea how he trained or got ready. But here's what all those people who were tearing him down on social media and radio shows missed. Shedeur never said anything bad about his situation in public. He never went to reporters and talked badly about the coaching staff's choices for the depth chart. He never asked to be traded or cause trouble. He showed up every day, worked hard with the scout team, got ready like a pro starter even though he was getting fourth-string reps, and waited patiently for his chance while ignoring all the noise and negativity coming at him from all sides. That way of handling a very hard situation with professional maturity earned him real respect in the Browns' locker room, especially from veteran leaders who know what it takes to win in the NFL. They saw Shedeur deal with problems with grace and determination. Even though he wasn't getting many meaningful reps with the starters, they saw him working hard in practice. They were really impressed by his character after watching how he got ready, how he acted, and how he treated his teammates and coaches. When Shedeur finally got to start because Dillon Gabriel got hurt, he had already won over important teammates by what he did instead of what he said. Myles Garrett's public support is the most obvious and strong example of that respect, but it's not the only one. During Shedeur's first start, you could see his teammates celebrating his successes with real joy and excitement. After big plays, players were rushing to him with real joy instead of fake congratulations. There was a clear difference in the energy on that sideline. It was more electric, more involved, and more alive. That's what happens when a locker room really believes in their quarterback and wants him to do well. From a leadership and organizational management point of view, Kevin Stefanski's current situation is very interesting, and to be honest, it's a test that could make or break his time in Cleveland. Dillon Gabriel is still in concussion protocol, and there is no set date for when he will be medically cleared to play again. Concussions are serious medical problems that need to be treated correctly and can't be rushed, no matter how competitive the situation is. But even when the doctors and medical staff finally give Gabriel the all-clear and say he's ready to play again, Stefanski has to make a very tough choice that could have huge effects on his future as a coach, and maybe even decide whether he keeps his job. Dillon Gabriel was the starting quarterback at the beginning of the season, though. There is organizational inertia and a commitment to past decisions that often makes coaching staffs stick to their original plans, even when things change a lot. Stefanski could say that Gabriel should get his job back when he gets better. He could say that Shedeur's one good game doesn't make up for all the bad ones that came before it. He could stress that having a stable and consistent quarterback is important for building offensive rhythm and chemistry. From a certain point of view, all of those would be good points. On the other hand, Shedeur Sanders just made history by becoming the first Browns rookie quarterback to win his first start in 30 years. This is the hand that seems to hold all the important cards. 30 years. Cleveland has been waiting that long for a rookie quarterback to win his first game. Shedeur didn't just win, he showed amazing playmaking skills, and now everyone in the locker room, including the team's best player, is publicly supporting him as the guy to move forward with. He gave the offense a lot of energy and excitement that it didn't have before. Fans really wanted to stay the starter, and some analysts don't want to admit how much fan support matters. It's almost impossible to stop the momentum that is completely on Shedeur's side. And most importantly, he proved beyond a doubt that he can play at this level and win games, which is the only thing that really matters in professional football. It might seem like a big deal that players don't want Dillon Gabriel to be their quarterback anymore, but the way players reacted and the energy around Shedeur's performance make it clear that it's not far from the truth. When your defensive leader is using his post-game platform to specifically praise the rookie quarterback's skills, when teammates are genuinely excited about his plays instead of feeling like they have to, and when the whole building feels and acts differently with Shedeur under center, it's clear what the locker room wants to do. Players know who gives them the best chance to win. They can sense it, and right now, they think Shedeur is that guy. This puts Kevin Stefanski in a very dangerous and possibly career-defining situation. If he puts Dillon Gabriel back in as the starter after he passes the concussion protocol, he is going against what the locker room clearly wants and believes. He might be pushing away Myles Garrett and other veteran leaders who have seen what Shedeur can do and think he gives them the best chance to win. Fans are upset and disappointed with him because they really want to see more of the rookie quarterback who just ended a 30-year drought. And he's putting himself in danger of starting a full-blown quarterback controversy that could ruin the rest of the season and cause problems within the team. But if Stefanski makes Shedeur the starter from now on, he's basically saying that his previous evaluations and depth chart choices were wrong from the start. He is admitting that the fourth-string quarterback, who wasn't getting any meaningful reps, was actually better than all the guys ahead of him the whole time. That's a really hard thing for any coach to say, especially when people are already questioning their ability to make good decisions and their job security is on the line. It's interesting to compare Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel because they are two very different types of quarterbacks with very different career paths. Gabriel was picked higher in the draft. He got first-team reps during the whole preseason and training camp. He had every chance and advantage the team could give him to become the franchise quarterback. But after watching the game film and seeing the plays Shedeur made in his first game, it's hard not to wonder what the Browns coaching staff saw in Gabriel that made them so sure he was better than Sanders. It's clear that Gabriel didn't do anything wrong to get the concussion. And it's a serious medical issue that needs to be handled correctly, with no pressure on him to come back until he's completely well and has been cleared by independent medical professionals. The health and safety of the players must come first. That injury, on the other hand, gave Shedeur an unexpected chance to show what he could do in terms of team building and organization. And he sees that moment in the most clear way possible. Sometimes, in sports and in life, you get your chance in ways and situations you never thought possible. Your whole career will depend on how you react when that chance comes. Shedeur made history and earned the deep respect of his teammates and coaches in response. The next game against the San Francisco 49ers has a very interesting story that will show us a lot about what Shedeur can do in the future. The 49ers are a good team with a strong defense that is well coached. They will be a lot harder to beat than the Raiders were. If Shedeur starts that game and plays well against a good team that wants to make the playoffs, it will make a strong case for him to be the permanent starter for the rest of this season and beyond. If he has trouble against San Francisco's defense, Critics will say right away that the Raiders game was a fluke against a bad team and that he's not ready for the long, hard work of an NFL season. That game is going to be a must-see because it will have a big impact on Cleveland's quarterback situation and the direction of the team. Kevin Stefanski's careful refusal to name Shedeur as the starter going forward says a lot about how he thinks and what he does. He praised Shedeur's play after the game in safe, measured ways, but he didn't say anything about the future or who would start when Gabriel is healthy. That carefully thought-out non-answer makes it seem like he's trying to keep all his options open and not put himself in a corner before he's ready. But that kind of planned vagueness and hedging makes things unclear, which can be very bad in a locker room. Players really want to know who their quarterback is. They want to get behind one person, build trust and chemistry, and work on timing and rhythm. No one benefits from the wishy-washy way of keeping everyone guessing, and it can cause division when unity is needed most. It's clear what Myles Garrett is trying to say to Stefanski, even though he doesn't say it directly. You just have to read between the lines of what he says. Garrett is telling his head coach, in the most polite way possible, that Shedeur is a special talent and that he better not mess this up by publicly praising his skills and pointing out throws that most NFL quarterbacks can't make. You should definitely pay attention when your best defensive player, your team leader, and the cornerstone of your franchise goes out of his way to support the rookie quarterback using his media platform. It would be very bad for the organization to ignore that message and the feelings behind it. The larger picture of Brown's franchise history makes this situation even more important and emotional for everyone involved. This team has been looking for a franchise quarterback for decades. They've picked quarterbacks high in the first round more than once. They've brought in free agents who have been around for a while. They've given up valuable assets in exchange for established starters. They've done everything they can think of to fix the quarterback spot. Nothing has worked for a long enough time to be successful. The quarterback carousel has been going on and on and on, and it's been very sad. One of the NFL's oldest and most storied teams is always the butt of jokes and a source of great frustration for the whole country. And now, completely unexpectedly, they may have found their answer in a fifth-round pick who was the fourth-string quarterback just a few weeks ago. If Shedeur Sanders becomes the real franchise quarterback that his first game strongly suggests he could be, it would be one of the best draft steals in NFL history. It would completely prove that general manager Andrew Berry's talent evaluation was right and that he was willing to take Shedeur despite all the doubt and criticism. And it would finally put an end to Cleveland's long-running quarterback nightmare. But all of that huge potential can only be realized if the coaching staff and organization fully commit to Shedeur and give him the support, resources, and chance he needs to grow. Pulling him in and out of the lineup based on politics instead of performance, causing unnecessary quarterback controversies by being indecisive, and not building the offense around his unique strengths and skills. All of those things would hurt his growth, and maybe even waste a great chance that the Browns have found almost by accident. Fans have overwhelmingly said that they want Shedeur to stay the starter going forward in this whole situation. Browns fans are very desperate for their quarterback to be stable and successful. They've been let down and given false hope for decades. While Cleveland has gone through an endless stream of replacement-level players, other franchises have found franchise quarterbacks. So when they finally find a quarterback who really looks like he could be the real deal, someone who can make all the throws, handle the pressure, and win games, they're not going to let the coaching staff go back to the previous starter just because that was the plan from the start.